What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Magnetic Discovery for the $9 donation via the PayPal. And he had a question, and it's a question and a observation, a statement. Too Raw, I was talking with a Braun fan, and he says all stars are irrelevant because Bron didn't have the right fit the way MJ, Duncan, and Curry did. And better teams beat better players. How would you respond to one who says Bron didn't have the right kind of help that fits him compared to others? Um, Number one, I thought they always say that LeBron makes everybody around him better. That's what I always hear. He makes players around him better. Um, he elevates everybody around him on the floor. Pass first guy, unlike Mike, who's just a hot dog, a gunner, a guy that's out there just getting points. That's what I always hear. So why is it that Michael Jordan can win championships with guys like Rusty LaRue and John Paxson and Steve Kerr and B.J. Armstrong, who are either a mix of marginal role players or good role players, but not superstars or all-star level players, right? But LeBron can have Russell Westbrook. He can have Shaquille O'Neal coming off for a campaign where he was an all-star with the Suns. He can have Anton Jameson, who was, I think, a calendar year removed from averaging 32 and 9, or was it 32 and 10, against that same Cleveland team that he had just joined. But they all look like shit. Camilo Anthony, 28,000 plus points in his career. Barely used bench player, pretty much, right? Compared to his potential. And these are like established players, not young guys who got to wait to develop. So this is just another excuse. Also, this is the GM, right? This isn't a guy that's just twiddling his thumbs while the front office do whatever the hell they want to do. This is a guy that almost acts like a co-GM. Isn't this the same LeBron James had a lot of input on breaking up essentially the 2020 bubble team that won a title because he wanted to become basically the Los Angeles Warriors and it blew up in his fucking face? Isn't he the one, along with Anthony Davis, that went out and acquired or pushed Rob Pelinka to acquire Russell Westbrook when we all knew that wasn't going to work, but the guy who everybody says is such a basketball savant, somehow he didn't see it, which leads me to believe that it was all just to have a lightning rod for criticism because he knew it wasn't going to work, so he could go out there and pad his numbers. This is the same LeBron James who got the legendary Paul Silas fired because he wanted him to work on his post game, and he was 100% correct because that was holding him back, because that's obviously what led to him being such a flame out in the 2007 NBA Finals and the 2011 NBA Finals. That plus, not having anything. Well, I can't even say that because, because, yeah. I had to think about that for a second because that was really more of him not having a jump shot. But still, if he was playing in the post, then he wouldn't be in the on the perimeter. So yeah, that could have countered that. But just more excuses. Now everybody's not a fit. So okay, so if this thing doesn't work in Philly, it's because it wasn't a good fit. But he's supposed to be a basketball savant. That's all these people do is move the goalpost and make excuses. This is how you know he's no fucking GOAT. We didn't have to make all these whatabouts, how's about this, look at it from this perspective. We didn't have to do all this shit with Michael Jordan. All you had to do was look at the evidence of the body of work, look at his accomplishments, look at his level of play on the floor, look at his skill set. Voila, that was it. That was it. If you thought it was Wilt, if you thought it was Kareem, we didn't get mad. These guys are a cult. If you don't adhere to LeBron being the GOAT, if you don't agree with that, they take it personal. They get offended. They get physically upset if you criticize LeBron James. I still remember to this day when I was watching an episode of, I guess it was NBA Countdown or whatever it was the show is that Malika Andrews hosts, and somebody on the panel said something critical. Matter of fact, I think it might have been Rick Bucher, who, of course, I don't even think he's still on the network anymore. And I think Rick Bucher or somebody said something critical of LeBron, and Malika Andrews' face, like it contorted into like an anger, like she was annoyed that he dare say something about LeBron James, to the point where I started thinking to myself, "Damn, is she fucking LeBron? She surely got offended there." But at the end of the day, and then again, wasn't that the same? Isn't that the same chick that LeBron hugged and kissed on the cheek or something like that? And she was all giggles and squirts, but she at the same time it pretty much got Jaylen Brown fired. Oh, your fingers in my elbow. I mean, in my armpit. I said elbow, Jesus. But getting back to the point, man, this is so tiring. And I'm not talking about you magnetic discovery. I'm not talking about you telling me this. It's the arguments these people make. It's just it just stinks of desperation. It just stinks of they're literally running out of shit to say. Really, they're running out of shit to say. They keep having these little secret cabal meetings and trying to come up with some ether argument, and it never works. It never works. I think the better point, now that I think about this now, the better question is, why does he need all these all-star players? Because clearly Jordan didn't. Why is he stacking the deck? Because he knows that he can't do what Michael did. He can't go on a team, or he can't play with guys who are. He can't play on a team with a bunch of KCPs. If you have LeBron be on a team with a bunch of KCPs and a bunch of try to think of some more role players, a bunch of Patrick Beverleys. If he had a team full of those guys, and the best player on his team outside of him is like a slightly better version of Drew Holiday, or maybe a mixture of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, that's like your best teammate on those championship teams, do we really believe that LeBron could pull that off? No, he can't do it. He couldn't do it. Do you know how many times I used to watch the Chicago Bulls play, and I would look at their opponent, and I would look at the opponent's roster, and I would look at the Bulls roster, and I used to say to myself, how the fuck are the Bulls winning these? How are they dominating the NBA? On paper, they're not a great team. So he alludes to, this LeBron fan you're talking about. He alludes to, well, they have better chemistry. Well, maybe if you motherfuckers would practice. We hear so much about LeBron's work ethic, but apparently their team ethic sucks because they never practice. The Bulls used to practice. Maybe if you stop team hopping so much, they could develop some chemistry. But, it is what it is. But tell me what you guys think.